Okay, I've got with me brother Rodney Chandler from around McKenzie, Tennessee, between McKenzie and Huntingdon. And brother Chandler, about how old are you?
I'm 97 years old, on my way to 98. November the 12th, I'll be 98.
Yeah. Okay, now you've been in music for some time, haven't you, brother Chandler?
When I was a boy, I played with little country bands and little home musicals like that as a boy. Just started out and just played a little bit, then by ear. I didn't get serious about it, but just played a little by ear back then. As in the late 20s and 30s. 1920, about 1925 on up to about 1935, I lived here in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I left Tennessee and was gone a while.
Now, when did you get serious about music?
When I was in Ohio, I took piano tuning and also took piano lessons. And I was lucky I had a real good teacher. They said Cincinnati had a conservatory equal to Boston and New York. And I had a teacher that graduated out of that, and he was really good. If I'd have got what he told me all of it, I'd have been better too.
So did you take piano lessons mostly? Is that what you took, piano?
Piano and piano tuning.
And piano tuning.
Yeah.
So now you've been in the business here for a number of years. How many years? About how many?
Went in piano selling music in 1963. 1963.
And you've got a business over here right near where you live.
It's still going.
Still going.
My son-in-law, Jack Allen, runs it now.
Now, in a few minutes, we're going to have you play. I'm going to turn around here and show this organ. And if you want to go ahead and turn that on, Brother Chandler, we're going to listen to you play a little. Do you need to punch some more buttons before you start playing?
I need to punch 2 or 3 more buttons.
Let me get up here. Now, what is all this? Your music up here? All this up here?
Yes, sir. That's books of music.
I see. Okay.
How about starting off with a hymn?
That'll be great.
Right in the corner where you are.
Okay, let her go. Was that a hymn?
Yes, sir. Brighten the corner where you are.
Do what?
Brighten the corner where you are.
Okay, well, I'm not too familiar with that, but that's now you over the years you've played in, been a music director and led music in some churches, haven't you? And revivals and things like that.
Yes, sir. One year I sung for 8 revivals that summer.
Okay, so you did some singing as well as playing the piano.
I played and sung some of them.
I see. Well, tell me about some of your experiences with some of your revivals.
Well, I went to one church, and they had a doctor preacher.
A doctor preacher.
Doctor preacher, yeah. I forgot his name, but anyway, when I got there, he came to hand me a piece of paper folded with songs for me to sing. And some of the deacons said if they'd noticed like that, they wouldn't have called him, and some of the women said to ignore it and go on and sing what we wanted to. I said, well, I'll try to use them. So the second night, he did the same thing. So when we went out, I let everybody get out ahead of him, and I said, I got a little discussion with you. He said, what's on your mind? I said, tomorrow night, you hand me another sheet of paper with the songs wrote out. I'm gonna announce that you're gonna preach from Deuteronomy, certain chapter and verses. Oh, you wouldn't do that to me, he said. I said, just as sure as you write them out again, I will. I said, they called you to do the preaching, they called me to do the singing. And I said, if I don't have ability enough to select the numbers, I need to stay at home. But I'm here.
So what do you do?
Would you believe it? He said, maybe this, maybe that. I said, no, maybe to it. I said, they called me to do the singing. When he gave the invitation that night, he asked me to sing a solo. Can you imagine getting that far out of bounds? But anyway, I sung the first verse. I turned to the choir and said, choir, please sing. And we went from there. And I thought if he was that stupid, I wasn't going to discuss it with him anymore.
Well, did you have any other interesting experiences?
Well, quite a few. I guess you knew Brother Robert Knowles, didn't you? He was a fine preacher and a fine fellow. He had a church up in Natchez Trace area, and a guy, one of the deacons had about a tenth of an acre, and the church is sitting on the edge of that. And the trees out there are no good. They got knots on them. They're no good for nothing but wood, so not much value anyway. But anyway, he and another deacon is into it and making a lot of trouble. And so I was fishing along then nearly every day with Brother Robert Knowles. And he said, let's get out of the boat, get out on the bank, get on our knees and pray about this. So I asked him their names and all, and asked him to let me go talk to them. No, you can't do nothing with them. He said, that's so unreasonable. You said you just couldn't do nothing with them. So we went ahead and pretty long time further. So one day he got in tears and said, let's get out and pray again, and we did. And so he done told me their names, the names of these fellers. So I thought one evening I'd just get in the car and drive up there and find these fellers. I found the one that had that tenth of an acre, the church sitting on the edge of it, and asked him to go with me to the other gentleman and talk to him, see if he could work it out. No, he wasn't going to talk to he just called him a devil, you know. He said he wasn't going to talk to him. I said, okay. So I wrote a check for $500 and handed it to him. He said, are you a member of this church? I said, no. Are you going to join? I said, no. He said, why would you do that? I said, to have peace in the church. He said, well, if you'll do it, I do it. I said, now you're talking turkey. I said, if you'll do that, I said, you'll only have one vote on it, just like Mr. Anybody else, if you give it to them. And
did he own the land or something?
He owned a tenth acre that the church was sitting on the edge of, is all.
I see.
But he and this other deacon was making bad trouble. So bad that Brother Knowles would pray and cry about it a lot of days, you know. So he couldn't work it out. He couldn't get it worked out. So I offered this guy a check. He wouldn't take it. He said he'd give it to him himself if I would. So he deeded it to the church. And so a week after that, Brother Knowles come to me and he said, what did you say to that feller? I said, not very much. And I told him I offered him a check, and he wouldn't take that. And he said he'd deed it to the church if I would. He said those two deacons got together and come down, and he said they had a revival. He said the church just started doing good, and they had a revival and got together and got it worked out.
Any other interesting experiences when you were leading?
Well, I had one. I went to tune a piano down close to Humboldt, Tennessee, and there's two deacons in there at odds. They were fussing and making trouble, and I tried to get them to talk together, and they wouldn't do it. They said they didn't want to talk to the old scratch, they called him. So I started tuning piano, and both of their wives played the piano. And so one of them was in the house over in the corner over there where I was tuning the piano, and the other man, his wife, was walking out in the cemetery. So I started praying as I tuned the piano for the good Lord to give me some way to get their attention, try to get them together. And while I was tuning the piano, and the good Lord gave me an idea. He inspired me with an idea. See, the piano in better tune, when it's in real good tune, it's got good harmony. About 120 strings, you might say, and when they're in tune, in good harmony. Well, when the church is doing good, all the people, all the members, they're in good harmony with one another. So I got this piano tuned and asked these ladies to come and play a number. The lady in the house played her number, and I called a lady out in the cemetery, her and her husband in, to play a number. They both played a number. I said, now I want you to play it again in a minute. I went to the piano, got right in the middle of it, and got one string, just only one, went zoom, pulled it down out of tune, see, and it rattled and everything. I asked them to come back and play their number. The person came back and played it, she hit that note, throwed her hands up, what'd you do to that piano? I asked the other lady to come try it, she did the same thing. I said, when two people gets out of harmony in a church, they mess the whole church up. I says, I only got one note, one string out of tune, and look, I said, it messed up the piano till you stopped playing it. And one of these fellows said, are you meaning us? I said, does it fit? I said, yes, sir. I said, you two are messing the whole church up. I said, you're breaking harmony in the church. And I said, that one string messed the piano up, see, when it got out of tune. I said, you're all out of tune, and you need to get tuned up and do right and serve the good Lord. You got a good Savior to serve. So we had a little further discussion about it. But anyway, I came home. About 2 weeks after that, I got a letter from the minister, said I didn't only tune the piano, said I tuned the church. She said them two fellows got together and said they had good harmony and good revival. So I appreciated that.
Well, before I hear some more music, now you're quite a fisherman, aren't you?
I like to fish real good. I fished a lot after I passed 80 years old.
And what's the biggest fish you ever caught?
It's a 2 pound.
What kind?
Catfish.
And where did you catch that?
And let's see, down here in the creek between here and Crescent. Brother Robert Knowles was with me.
Right down here in the creek?
In this creek, yeah. It's down here, where the spillway runs from the lake down to the creek. Just right above that spillway, that's where we caught that 52-pound catfish, where it runs into the creek, where Carroll Lake runs into the creek down there.
What's your favorite fishing place? Where do you like to go?
I guess Tennessee River, where I caught the most fish, and catfish and brim and crappie. I like those crappie.
Now I'm going to ask you in a minute. You had a back problem for a number of years, but I'm going to let you play another song before I ask you about that. Okay? So what do you want to play? You just play.
Do you have any requests that I might know?
Well, I hadn't really thought about it. Do you know the Tennessee Waltz or not?
Yeah, I know that. But how about Wednesday Night Waltz? Will that be all right?
Well, that's fine too. I don't know but yeah, anything's all right with me.
Wednesday Night Waltz, I learned it when I was about 10, 12 years old. I've never seen the music to it. I learned it by ear, and I've never even had the music for it.
Now,
Wednesday night waltz.
well, now wait, before you do that, Brother Chandler, do you play most things by ear, or do you,
I use the book on a lot of them.
you lose the book?
See, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 books there. None here. I got about 10 books. Yeah, I guess there's over. I guess there's over 100 songs in each book.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, go to it.
Okay. I'll get set up here for Wednesday night waltz.
Okay. Okay, great. Now, tell me a little about this organ.
Okay.
It's got lots of lights on it.
Yeah, it's got 248 controls as I counted. 248. Let's see, in about 2000, I had an organ. It got too old to play, and I was aiming to get another one. And this organ at that time was no, that's in the '90s. It was $48,000, and my wife, she had Alzheimer's, and I lost her, but I was afraid I was going to go broke. It cost a lot to have her taken care of, her medications and everything, and women to stay with her. So I bought a Yamaha. It cost $25,000, and went on then to about 2000. Of course, she was passed away then, and I thought I had enough left to get this one, and I went to get it, and it was $60,000. It went from 48 to 60,000 in that length of time. But anyway, the guy delivered it, and I went to help him unload it in a crate. He didn't want me to touch it. He said he didn't want it damaged. I said, I ain't gonna damage it. I'd had a lot of organs and pianos. But anyway, he was very particular about it. He said he wanted it signed for before anybody else touched it. But anyway, I got it, and Karen and I have been playing at different places, horse shows and beauty reviews. Where we played for 3 fairs, Carroll County and Benton County and Decatur County, for the last 30 years. Every year during the fair, about.
Now, is this the one you play?
No, not the last 30, the last 10 years. This one. But we played other
ones. How it looks awfully big. How do you move it around?
It weighs 500 pounds. It's heavy. It's hard to move, heavy and all, but we move it. We have a truck straps on it with handles, and we can move it with that pretty easy.
I see. Okay. Okay. Well, now, tell me. You were telling me last time I talked with you that you had a back problem for about 20 years or a long time. And
in the 1980s, I had 2 back surgeries, and one of them had a pinched nerve damage. And I talked to the doctors about it. Dr. Jordan down at Jackson, he's a specialist. He said there's just nothing you could do to treat a pinched nerve. You just about had to live with it. They didn't have no known way of treating it. So I suffered it. And it got so bad, about 2 or 3 years ago, I went to Kansas Medical Center, and they charged about $800 a visit and give me some kind of shot. One of them helped a little and the other didn't do no good. So they said they couldn't do nothing for it, and recommended a specialist. And they got a specialist, and he sent me a letter with 8 pages, and one of them was $450 in advance. And I'd been praying for this back to be healed for 25 years. And I got real serious. I thought I'm not going to go to that specialist. I'm going to pray to the good Lord. And what do you know? I got through. The good Lord healed it.
Just overnight, almost, wasn't it?
I couldn't tell when it's healed. First thing I know, it didn't hurt no more. It just didn't hurt no more. But now, Jesus can do surgery without touching you better than the doctors in Jackson or anywhere.
Right. Now you've been going to church in this area most of your life, hadn't you?
They built the church Fairview, and it was ordained and started servicing in 1923, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. I was 7, 8 years old, and I started going there. While they was building it, the scaffold fell with my father and broke his ankle. I remember that very plain. And we had a preacher, Brother Powers from Paris, and he came for a year for $1 a Sunday at $10 a year in a horse and buggy. And he made a statement. He said he wasn't preaching for money. He said he was preaching for people to get salvation. But his wife, he was about 7 foot tall, and his wife was about, I guess, 4'6", something like that, little bitty lady. And she would come with him sometime. They'd come in the buggy. When she didn't come with him, he'd ride a horse from Paris over here to preach. Now, that was a long way for a horse, wasn't it?
Well, there
From
weren't
Paris.
there weren't any local preachers around here.
Well, they might have been, but he was the one they.
He's the one.
He's the one they called, and he's the one came.
And he rode a horse.
He rode a horse. Maybe 1 month he'd ride a horse, and if his wife come with him, she felt like coming, they'd come in the buggy.
So that'd be what, close to 20 miles or something, or more.
I guess it's 20 or 25 miles from here to Paris.
Depending on how he came. Yeah. And
but I believe he was a good feller, because he spent the night at our place. He'd come have a Saturday night service, then a Sunday service too. See, and he spent in our home. I'd listen at him talk, knowing I was just a little boy, but I remember him. He was an outstanding man, all right.
Yeah. Well, let's see, Brother Rodney. I've had you play the organ. Do you want to sing for me or not? Do you want to sing for me or not?
I guess not. I'm not.
Okay.
Not too good singing.
Okay, well, that's fine.
I can sing, but I lead the choir, in church and all. But I got a whole bunch to sing with me and all like that.
Do you still lead the choir now or not?
I still do.
Oh, you do?
Yes, sir. And 10 years ago, or in the 80s, if I left my glasses at home, I'd have to go back and get them. They'd blur, see. I can go and not take glasses now. My eyes are getting better.
That's
Dr. Wells said, that just don't happen. Said, let me examine your eyes. But I said, it happened to me. I know it did, because I can read that right now without glasses.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you for talking with me, Brother Chandler.
Okay.
Have a good, and you're going to be playing at the horse show, did you say, next week?
Next Saturday week.
Yeah, okay. All right. Thank you.